Welcome to this EstimatorXpress Getting Started video. In this section, we'll be estimating some internal doors using the Typical Panel Doors workbook. We're going to open the Typical Panel Doors workbook by going to the Workbooks tab. Click the Doors button and select Internal Doors from the drop-down menu. Click Typical Panel Doors and then select the option to open to the workbook summary. There are several worksheets set up for different sizes of door, some into studding and some into blockwork. Select the worksheet which is most appropriate for the task in hand. The comments column indicates the cost of each door. For this example, I'm going to use the 762 door into blockwork worksheet. This door will connect the upstairs of the extension to the existing house. Set the number of identical doors for this worksheet to 1. The cost of the door will appear in the total cost column. As I need to form the opening in the wall, I'll have to go into the worksheet and make some adjustments. Click on the 762 door into blockwork worksheet on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll find yourself looking at the Dimensions tab, where a column has been added with some dimensions pre-filled. Click on the column and click the Dims Wizard button to open the Dimensions Wizard. If the door opening has been formed in an existing wall, you need to enter the wall thickness here. In this case, I need to add a new internal door upstairs, forming the opening through the existing cavity wall. The thickness of the existing wall is 0.3 metres. The balking factor for spoil is set to 1.5 as standard for forming openings in walls. Check you're happy with the dimensions of the door, and then click Reveals and Fixing Details. See if there's anything you need to change here, such as the reveal depth. I'm going to change this to 0.15 metres. Return to the door frame dimensions and then click Next to move on to page 2. This page deals with the plastering and threshold details. We'll need to plaster the reveals, so that can stay set to Yes. Next, think about the number of angle beads. If there's going to be an architrave, you can leave that set to 0. If the reveals are going to be plastered and exposed, type in the number of angle beads. Let's say we're going to use angle beads on both sides. The threshold board is set to Yes, so we'll leave that as it is. Click Next, and on page 3 we can check the decoration specification. Decide whether the threshold board is going to be primed and decorated. Decide how many architraves are required. You may have 2 or you may have none. Check the architrave fixing centres and whether they're going to be primed and painted. Decide if the door casing requires priming and painting and whether the door itself needs to be primed and painted. Finally, decide whether the reveals are going to be painted. Then click Finish. Now you've updated a few dimensions and options, the costing of the door will be much more accurate. Click on the Sundry Resources tab. The Sundry Resources tab lists the resources which are not automatically calculated from the dimensions, including the door, door casing, hinges and lintel. At the moment, the worksheet only allows for 1 lintel for a door into a single skinned wall. As my door is going into what was an external wall with 2 leaves, we need to set the quantity of lintels to 2 in the Quantity per Item column. Click into the Quantity per Item box and type 2. Once you've done that, you will of course need to increase the labour to fix the lintels, as 2 lintels will take longer to fix. Find the labour item called Fix Lintel and change the number of hours to 4 in the Quantity per Item column. Forming the opening will also take longer. Let's say it'll take 4 hours to prepare the area in the existing house, pre-drill the opening and knock it through. Once again, type 4 into the Quantity per Item column. Now let's add in a labourer to help do these tasks. Click the Add Labour button on the top menu. In the price book, locate and click on the Bricklayer's Labourer item. Then click Select Resource. In the Item Used for Input box, type Form Opening and Fix Lintel. In the Usage Units, select Hours and leave the usage factor to 1 so that the estimate rate is an hourly rate. Set the quantity to 4 to allow 4 hours of labourer's time for this job. And in the build phase drop-down box, select internal preparation. Then click OK. If we look back at the worksheet, we'll see that the bricklayer tasks of forming the opening and fixing the lintel are set to the brickwork shell build phase. We can change the labourer task to match these. Click on the bricklayer's labourer, click the Edit Resource button, and select Brickwork Shell from the Build Phase drop-down box. You can edit any of the fields here, so if you do make a mistake, you can easily correct it by clicking the Edit Resource button. Click OK to confirm the changes. Now the build phase has changed and the labourer is working during the same phase as the bricklayer. You can also add some plant to form the opening. Click on one of the lines for plant for forming the opening. Click the Change Resource button. Then either scroll up and down to find acro props, or use the Find box to help you locate a plant item more quickly. Type a keyword into the Find box and press the Enter key. Once you've located the resource, click on it and click Select Resource. Click OK to confirm the usage factor and build phase, and add any other plant if needed. Alternatively, you can estimate the plant as part of the general demolition. Once you're happy with the wall preparation, knock-through, lintels and the doors themselves, return to the job summary. Click Close Workbook. Click OK to set the workbook to completed. And that's the estimating complete for the internal door, including the forming of the opening. Thank you for watching this EstimatorXpress video on estimating typical panel doors.